Hi, I'm Kelli Schulte, and I'm here at Women on the Front Lines in Arizona. And I am here just to share with you the joy that we have found through a journey that wasn't always so joyful. Many years ago, when I was in high school and college, I had a passion for exercising and nutrition and all of those things. And I was an aerobics instructor and whatnot, and just really found a lot of joy and life in that. And as I went through college, I became an elementary education major and worked with inner city youth. And so just had a real call to hurting children and children with behavior issues and just struggles at home and whatnot. And back then, I didn't know the two were related at all until I had my first child. We now have 5 children, but when I had my first daughter, at about 18 months, we started to see things that weren't typical in an 18-month child, just a real strong will and whatnot, and got a lot of counsel from pediatricians and doctors and how to handle that. But it was when she entered kindergarten that things really were escalating, and we just knew. I was a kindergarten first grade teacher, and I knew like what we were seeing and exhibiting, what behaviors she was exhibiting weren't typical, and we started seeing doctor after doctor after doctor. At one point, at the end of our journey with the medical world, we were seeing 7 different doctors. And at this time, the Lord was working in our life as well, and I started to have a personal relationship with Him, and just started praying over the situation. And one day when I was at my Mothers of Preschoolers group, I had just lost all hope and all everything, and we were seeing 7 different doctors, and she was having meltdowns and behavior issues, and my heart was breaking for her. And I just was crying out to the Lord, like, what do I do? And one of the mentor moms said, if you need prayer, come on back. And so I went back, and she prayed for me, and I told her what was going on with my daughter and how my heart was breaking for her, and everything we were doing wasn't working, and I just needed to know what to do. And she asked if I had ever tried anything in the natural world. I had no idea what the natural world was. And so we started our journey into the natural world, going to chiropractors, which was against everything within me, seeing naturopathic doctors and all of these things. And the Lord started to reveal to me just how food and nutrition and wellness can impact our bodies. And as we started to give my daughter, we found she had major severe food allergies to dairy and gluten and sugar. I threw everything away in our pantry and just started fresh, just with all these things that really the Lord has provided for us to eat. We just did basically meat and vegetables and fruits and alternative grains that didn't have gluten in them. Gluten is wheat, rye, and barley. And we just started down this journey of natural health and eating a whole different diet. And the Lord started to open up the healing in my daughter. We started to just see things happening, and her body was getting strengthened. And within 1 year of seeing a chiropractor and just intense prayer, and I learned about declarations. I had gone to my first Patricia King event and decree, and we started to decree over her what God's plans and intentions were for her life. And with the food and the prayer and the natural health, like the Lord just started to heal her body, and all 7 doctors discharged her on their own accord as they saw the healing and the testimony of what Jesus was doing in her life. And in that time, the Lord spoke to me that there are so many things where you go out and you pray, and I was praying for her to be healed and healed and healed, and I was expecting a miracle. And I didn't get the miracle, but I got healing. And then he had me he helped me, I went through a little word search on healing. It was restoration to wholeness. And so the Lord was so faithful in bringing us to a restoration of wholeness with our daughter. She's now 13 years old and walks completely free of the behavior issues and the intense emotions and all of those things. And our family has found freedom. We eat completely different than the world eats. But myself, I was on anxiety medication, depression medication for years, and found out the root of it was gluten. I've taken gluten out of my diet and walked free of medications and all of those things. And when we started on the whole gluten-free path, it was just really didn't taste well at all. So I started playing with recipes, and we had so many food allergies that I couldn't take a normal recipe, but I started playing with recipes and found a fun way to eat well, and it still tastes good, it's kid-friendly. We went through a lot of things with my daughter with sensory issues, so we found different creative ways to get kids to eat. I started researching our food industry and what was going on, and I just found that there's so many chemicals and things that are added to our food, and it's not the way God created the farming to happen. And so when we went to just all the natural foods and whatnot, and back to the way God created us to eat, the healing just took place and restored our family and our hope. And in the end of it, we have found the joy looking back on the journey, and we've been able to help other people who are struggling, other children who are finding freedom by changing their diet, by doing decrees and prayer and infusing all of that into their life. They're finding freedom. And I've written a book called Kingdom Kids Nutrition, which documents our journey along with the research that I had. I just feel it's so critical that we know why we're making changes in our diet. Like, we all know corn syrup's bad, but why? What does it do to our bodies? And through the research, I got that why that spurred me to keep going. And I feel like that's super critical for people to know the whys behind. So the whole middle section of the book is all the whys behind food and how food coloring and those types of things just affect our systems. And then in the end of the book, it's a whole gluten-free, dairy-free cookbook, which you don't need to have a gluten allergy to get gluten out of your diet. You can also use whole wheat flour in all the recipes. They work just the same, but they're kid-friendly, fun. I use natural sweeteners because sweeteners are not... a whole other thing with that, but the sweeteners, just maple syrup and honey that God gave us to sweeten things, so we can still have those treats and they're healthy and bring nutrients to our body. And like healing just has followed that in our life. And so I just want to encourage anyone who is struggling with behavior issues, emotional issues yourself or with your children. If your children are picky eaters and you need some ideas, the book has a bunch of ideas in that. You can also go to our website, which is www.kingdomkidsnutrition.com. I also have a blog in which I'm blogging all the time, just things my kids and I are doing. Getting them involved in the process just helps to get them to eat different, new, creative things. And the blog is www.kingdomkidsnutrition.blogspot.com. And, you know, it's an interactive thing. If you have questions or anything, just go right in there, and I'd be happy to help you in any way that I can.